can afford to pay for their rent. You might get into an apartment, but it's pretty hard to be able to maintain that. And so that's why a lot of people are homeless. So we got to do something in order to put our people in homes. And so we have two guests today we're going to have that discussion. So the very first one today that I'm going to talk to and introduce, his name is Mr. Calvin Johnson.
Yes.
And I'm very pleased to have him here on the show. He actually has a program that will help teach you to become an apartment manager. And his company is called freerent.org. And I'm going to introduce him, and he's going to tell us all about himself. So, Mr. Johnson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Crystal. Pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you.
I appreciate the opportunity to share my ideas, knowledge, experience, or whatever you would like.
Okay. Well, why don't we first start with, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in Los Angeles now for about a little bit over 20 years.
Okay.
And it's interesting because earlier when I arrived, we were chatting, and you were telling me about how you got started. And I have a lot of respect for some of the people that have moved on, passed on. Bill McButts, Muhammad Nasruddin.
Yes.
A lot of people that tried and kind of pioneered. When I first arrived in the city, I was looking for organizations or people that I could latch on to or work with. And those are people that had organizations and they were trying to do things, and it was good. And what blossomed out of that was the Black Business Expo in the 80s that lasted for had a good run for a number of years, and other things that I was not directly involved with, but I was aware of the individuals. They knew me, I knew them, and we were looking at trying to work on projects and things. But everybody was so busy, and I never really had a chance to get involved as deeply as I would have liked to at the time, though.
And, it's funny, and we probably have met each other because, Los Angeles is a really very, very small community when it comes into the business world. And, when I have conversations with people and we start going back over the past and back in the day, and we realized, like, wow, we crossed each other because, one, Recycling Black Dollars, it was founded by Muhammad Nasruddin in the late 80s, 89, 90-ish, somewhere around that time. And Muhammad was very much involved with the Black Business Expo with Barbara Lindsay. Right. She is now... that's her claim to fame in Los Angeles, and the Black Expos were just awesome.
Right.
And now she has a company called Sold Out Connections, and she is a producer. And she produces a lot of events. She works very closely with George Frazier. So whenever George comes to town, that's Barbara Lindsay behind him.
Okay.
She's a behind-the-scenes kind of lady right now. Okay. But I absolutely love Barbara because whenever any of the prominent authors, Dennis Kimbrough, those are all Barbara bringing them here. But you don't know that because she's behind the scenes. She likes to be behind the scenes now. But some amazing stuff. Pat Means, who has gone on and passed on, transitioned. Just an awesome lady when she started Turning Point, the magazine. And that's kind of when I started my business, was back in that time. She came to a number of events that I attended, and I met her. Her magazine was great. My very first business, Colorful Connections, was actually advertised in her magazine. There were just some amazing people out there. And it was such a feel because I attended, hey, Daryl, hey, Keith, welcome to the show. Hi, Kareem. Welcome on my Facebook Live, people. If you want to see the show in its entirety, you can go to morrismedialive.com and we stream live. But it kind of took a turn. I mean, for like 20 years, we were in there. We'd go to these great events. I can't even tell you how many networking groups there was, right? There was the NBA, what was it? We had, it was Recycling Black Dollars. And then you had the NBA group. That was a networking group. And then you had the one you mentioned earlier, that Pat Means builders, business builders, Bill McBuck. So there was some great. So you could meet people. So even today, when I meet people, it's like, oh, I remember you from back in the day, and when I met you years and years ago. And today, when I was at the Edison event, there was a lot of people that I've seen over the years. Some that I knew back in the '90s, some of them that I met as the years have progressed on, and then some that have just become part of my business world since becoming the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. So it's really, really cool. So were you a realtor back then or a business? What were your focus?
My foray into real estate was when the mortgage boom. And it's ironic because when I did get my license, finally got my license, it's just when the downturn.
Whoa.
And they had made a number of changes in the real estate process of licensing, and I really never intended to sell real estate. I was more interested in using the license for other things.
Okay.
And personally, I believe the broker's license obviously is the power.
Yes.
But and that might be something down the road. But that was my entrance into real estate, and as a result of that, had an opportunity to kind of get my toe wet with property management.
Okay.
And that led to actually working in that area. And that led to seeing an opportunity at the time to put something together to help new people. First-time new people is who I think really is the target market for what I do.
Okay.
Because there are programs out there. As a matter of fact, when I entered the business initially, I went through a class. It was like a week of training.
Okay.
And they charged quite a bit more than what I charged for my program. And after going through that, I thought it was a good program, learned some good things, and it was a real benefit. But I felt that there might be a way to still provide quality information, fundamental information, but do it in a condensed way so that people can quickly and affordably tap into this instead of having to invest $300-400 per person in some cases. And so in looking at what was out there, I didn't think it really reached out to the market in a way that it would attract new people, because everyone's heard of apartment management. Back east, they call them supers and different things. So a lot of people are familiar with that, but they don't know the nuances of the business, or that it could be used as a way, if you have a plan, to use it as a bridge, so to speak, to get to where you're trying to go. And what do I mean by that? Let's say that you want to save for a house, or a couple or an individual want to save for a house. Well, if you are an apartment manager in many states, and you're receiving either reduced rent or you're not paying any rent. Now, you're earning that rent because you're dealing with tenant issues and a number of things that are required of apartment managers. You deal with that, obviously, in return for your living on the property, maintaining, making sure things run smooth, that kind of thing, and other things.
Okay.
Because it's funny, a lot of people think that managers collect the rent and sleep all day and this kind of thing. And some may do that. But the point is that there are different levels to this business. And what I try to do after being in the industry for over 10 years and having worked with different companies, 3 or 4 different companies, managed different properties, is just give new people, not real estate agents, not apartment managers, but new people, and show them that, hey, this might work for you. I have another program that I'm very excited about. I haven't really rolled it out yet because my website is under reconstruction.
Okay.
But you take a young person, for example, Crystal, who is working, trying to juggle work and school.
Right.
I would wager that if they would consider training in my program to become an assistant apartment manager, that they would learn how to either manage a large, let's say, well, you take the industry, you have your commercial buildings, your 300 unit, 500, big properties. they will have a manager on site, and that manager usually will have one or two assistant managers.
Mm-hmm.
The assistant managers are the gophers, go to court, go meet the plumber, go.
Mm-hmm.
But for a young person, this is perfect because now that means they have a place to live,
Mm-hmm.
they have a small salary,
Mm-hmm.
but if they're smart and they take their classes and finish their schooling online, let's say in the evenings, 2 years goes by. Now they have their degree, associates perhaps, or 4 years. And now you have more options, more opportunities. So that's a program that I really want to push. My goal is to eventually offer an online class. I'm not there yet. I've been holding live classes, but that's how I could really, I think, do the things that I think are doable in terms of reaching the market and really helping a lot of people because rent is extremely important, and it's eating up a lot of people's income right now. Some people are paying as much as 40% or more.
Right, which is, if you're paying 40% of your income, hey, Rhonda, how are you? If you're paying 40% of your income in rent, then, or
it's not going to leave
more,
a lot left for
it's not going to leave you a lot. And that's an excellent program for young people because, that's a big issue for our young adults, our millennials. So that's really your target market, right?
Well, actually, this business is perfect for, let me give an example, actors, because they want to hit their auditions.
Yes,
so a lot of actors could benefit from this. And then you have your retired people, contractors, home-based business owners, because a lot of people, they can manage a building. Once you learn the basics of it and you get familiar with it, you can manage the property in many cases, and then you can also run your business from home. Because, as I was saying, there are different levels to this business. I try to show people how to, if they want to go into the commercial end of it where you're managing 100, 200, 300 unit buildings, that's fine. And I can help somebody do that, show them how to get into that. But it's really anywhere. In California, the state law says that any building that has 16 apartments or more is required by law to have a manager managing on site. So it creates a lot of opportunities. There are West Side, beach cities, Inglewood, Compton. The apartment buildings are everywhere.
Right, and I know that there's a big, in fact, when our other guest gets here, sorry, Facebook Live, when our other guest gets here, that's what he's going to talk about is that how serious it is right now for housing and being able to build enough housing that will accommodate the number of people for affordable housing, and that some of that housing has to be affordable, right? I attended a meeting not long ago. I think they're the NIMBYs and the YIMBYs, and they're butting heads for the people that are already in their communities, and they don't really want all these new people, and it's bringing lots of traffic. But that means we're looking at multiple size, huge complexes of apartment buildings that are being built all over this city in order to at least trying to accommodate the number of people that are actually living here.
Well, there's a lot of things happening. Measure S is something that's on the ballot that's coming up here soon, so that'll determine whether or not there'll be a more affordable housing and things. But it's becoming a real challenge, not just in Los Angeles, but
it's all over the country.
In all the major cities, it's becoming a challenge. And areas like, for example, Venice. When I moved here 20 years ago, I could have bought a little house in Venice for about $500,000. Today, that same house is worth millions.
Oh, millions. You have places right in, I grew up in the La Brea and
I thought you were going to say Beverly Hills or Palos Verdes.
No. No. I grew up east of La Brea, west of La Brea, but right in that little area, Mansfield, Orange Drive. Okay. And then I lived up, my very first apartment was on San Vicente, between Curacao and Hauser. And then at one point I moved over before the recession over off of Washington in the off of 10th Avenue. But I remember, and this was in 2009, 8, just before the recession, when where my mom lived was on Mansfield and Washington, in between Venice Boulevard and Washington Boulevard, right? And the house next door to us, our neighbor died, and the house was up for sale. That house was somewhere around $700,000 or $800,000. And I'm going, really? I mean, because that really was like a middle class, but lower middle class. It wasn't like that was nowhere like living on the west side. Right. We weren't even the west side yet. We're still South Central LA, but you had buildings. And then about the time of the recession, the market had ballooned to such a place that even in those areas, houses were $1 million.
Wow.
And so they're almost back there. I know up in the Windsor Hills and View Park area, they're almost back to where they were pre-recession.
Well, a lot of money is coming into the U.S., obviously, because of instability across the world. And a lot of Chinese money is coming in and a lot of foreign money. And, you know, I guess I was wrong to not stay with the real estate license.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because it is a very, well, you know, real estate has always been that lucrative industry, but it's a reciprocal business. It's a bubble. Every 7 years, 7 to 8 years, it's going to pop. They drive the prices up, depending on how fast they drive those prices up, and then it pops.
Right. Well, California is really unique, as we all know. Everybody wants a piece of this sunshine, so that's the big attraction here. But that traffic is becoming.
Well, that's the down. Well, for
what do we
me,
say about it?
The downside to the large apartment complexes is the traffic. That's they're back in the day, back in the 90s, early 80s and 90s and 2000s, you had certain areas that had huge complexes. You know, Fox Hills. You know, you had your condos and apartments over in that area.
Well, the future is mixed-use housing.
Mixed-use housing, right? So that's really where we are, which brings traffic.
Right.
And we're not quite there yet with the massive transit. We're not New York. Right. We're not San Francisco. Right. We're not Chicago. We still got some ways to go where it becomes accessible, where you can feel that you can put your car up and jump on the train. Now, I can do that in New York.
Right.
I had no problem. And taxis were reasonable. You could just jump and go here and here. Now, that, you know, the new on-demand Lyft and Uber, that helps because you're not paying taxi prices. We're really paying, our Uber rides really equate to what you pay for a taxi in New York or Chicago.
Even today?
Even today.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when I was I went to Baltimore and I took a Uber from the airport, from BWI into Maryland. And it cost me $15.
Wow.
Now, if you were to take a cab from Los Angeles to
Hollywood or something.
Hollywood, that would be
or
almost
LAX to Hollywood.
LAX, that would be almost $50, $60.
Yeah. No, it's very expensive.
So you can't. That's not something that's doable. But your program, teaching those how to be property managers, that could be
not property managers. Apartment managers.
Apartment managers.
Apartment managers are, even though we're in the real estate world, it's, don't take this the wrong way, the stepchild of the real estate world, because when you go and pursue a real estate license, you learn aspects of apartment management and different aspects of, it covers different aspects of property management. But unless you become a broker who is taking specified training, you're really not a property manager.
Okay.
But if you have a broker's license, by law, you are allowed to hang your shingle and move into a property management type of business.
Okay, but that could be the beginning steps to moving into it. But if we're going to become a city of apartments, then you're going to need more
apartment managers.
Managers.
There are always jobs, Crystal, for apartment managers. It's a big, huge industry. There are always jobs,
Okay.
always.
Now, what goes into that training? What are they learning?
Well, they're learning fundamentals primarily. At least in my case, I cover, my program is a two-step program. It's a live event, but it's a two-step program. Step one is in-class training.
Okay.
And in that situation, we want people to come, ask questions, participate, soak up as much information as possible, because obviously in a 3-4 hour setting, depending on the size of the group, we can only cover so much. So it's intended to be more of an overview. And then the second part is at the end of that class, there are materials that they receive during the class as well, handouts and things that we cover, and specific information, but a training manual plus some other materials and things that are emailed. I do provide a certificate as well.
Okay.
And I always tell people, don't get caught up on the certificate, because unless you're a state licensed, like a vocational institution, my certificate is no more better than the association or somebody else's certificate. But the point is that the certificate is used to show employers, potential employers, that, hey, I invested in some training. And then I tell people, I say, challenge them to ask you questions so that they can see that you have received quality training.
Okay.
Because if someone comes to the class and they don't go over their notes when they get home, let's say, and then read their manual, which is the second step,
Right.
and then follow the blueprint that I provide, the steps, it's like anything else. It may not work for them.
Okay.
But it's designed to work. We've had success. People have gotten hired. And that's really the most important thing to me, is that new people are getting into the business. That's what it was designed to do.
Oh, okay.
Help new people.
So after they've gone through the training and then they've gotten their certificate,
Right.
So what's the process? Is there a job listing or
I'm in the process of looking at how to incorporate a job board, let's say, or a listing service or portion to the website. It's not there yet, but in the class, I do show people where the jobs are, how to get hired,
Okay.
Things that have worked, and if they pursue this the right way, aggressively, they're plenty of fish in the ocean. So I teach people how to fish so they can make it happen.
Well, that's actually like so.
Well, actually, my wife and I. I don't want to leave her out. She'd be like, oh,
well, that's good. You guys are partnership business. That's a good thing. So, but this actually could be a solution, especially for let's focus on our young adults coming out of college, and mom and dad really want them to move out of their homes, but they really can't afford to, because on the average they're going to $45,000 to $50,000 a year.
18 to 30-year-olds today more than ever are living at home.
Yeah, because they can't afford to live outside of their home.
And this should be and could be a consideration that a lot of people, and let me just say this, apartment management is not for everybody. Mainly because, when you're managing a property, you're dealing with personal situations of individuals who are your tenants. And sometimes you learn a little bit more, things happen that maybe you don't really want to be a part of or know. But the point is that when you manage a building, it's like a community.
Okay.
And I just try to share that with people. My wife and I, we just try to let people know that this is an opportunity, and maybe it can work for you. And as we look at the economy and the way things are in terms of prices of living, cost of living and housing, it could be a good opportunity for more people. So I'm trying to reach that segment of the audience that hasn't even considered this.
Okay.
And maybe they said, well, we have an apartment manager. I lived in an apartment, but I never thought about becoming one.
Right. Well, they probably don't even know. Again, as I said earlier, for our community, one of the biggest issues is what we don't know. What we don't know, right? Not knowing that this is even an opportunity that is out there for them,
right?
And what the steps are in order to be able to become that apartment manager. Because if they live in an apartment, they just assume that this is somebody that was in the building and maybe was friendly with the owner of the building,
right?
And been the person that's been in the building longer than anybody else, right. And just by default they've become the apartment manager, right?
This is true. So, but let me just share this. Everyone, or I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people just assume that, hey, I can be an apartment manager.
Right.
Now, it's not rocket science.
Right.
Obviously. But there are some things that the employers, the property, who are either private owners who hire managers or property management companies. There are certain specific things that they're looking for. And the reason it's so hard for new people to break into the business is because it's real estate. Let's say that I have a property, I hire somebody, they have no training, no experience. All they know is they've lived in an apartment building and they've seen the manager pick up the rent and take out the trash or clean up the foyer. But point is that they do want somebody who has some training. Because if something goes wrong, a fair housing issue or injury or equipment, something goes wrong, it could be a major lawsuit, and they could lose a lot of money.
Well, of course, exactly. So there's some skill sets, and being able to have people skills and communication skills.
Right. It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone, right? Because you're kind of actually on a little bit of demand, because if there's a plumbing issue and you're sleeping in the middle of the night, you got to be able to get up and deal right that.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why they're compensating you with either, like I said, the reduced rent or free rent, and it's not free. You have to earn that. But I've met managers who are in properties, let's say, upscale area, where they have a lot of free time. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
But older properties tend to require more hands-on. You're dealing with many times maybe plumbing issues and things. So it varies. But I try to cover all of those bases in the class. So.
Oh, good. Very good. We're going to take a quick break, and our other guest, Mr. Mel Wilson, is here. And so we're going to have a conversation with him, and then I think this would be a great exchange for you and him, because he's talking about housing our workers, and you're talking about providing a place for the workers and possibly an opportunity for them to make money. I think that's a great synergy there. And so we're going to take a quick break and come back, and we will have brought on our guest who's just arrived.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
And welcome back to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert.